As you saw at the beginning of the weather service class definition, we implement the forecast listener interface so that we can respond when the actual forecast data gets loaded. And here is our overridden onForecastLoaded method that receives the same data it received back in the single day forecast fragment and is used once again to populate the GUI with the data. The difference in this case is that we are now really configuring the GUI for the weather app widget as opposed to a fragment in the running app on the screen. So the first thing we do is get the application's context so that we can use it within this method. Then we check to see if the image is equal to null. If it is, we display a toast and simply return. The next thing we do is we create a pending intent that is going to say what to do when the user touches the app widget. And in particular, we want the touching of the app widget to cause the app itself to be displayed on the screen. So we create an intent here for the weather viewer activity class and then use that to create a pending intent that can be used to launch the weather viewer app in response to the user touching the app widget. Now, the most important part of the method that we're looking at right now is the creation and population of the remote views. For the remote views, the first thing we do is call the getPackageName method, and the getPackageName method gives us the package name for the app, which is also where our WeatherProvider app widget updating class is defined. And we also give it a second argument, which is the layout that will be used to create the remote views. So this creates the remote views object. Then at line 127 and 128, we take the pending intent that we created up above and set it as the on-click pending intent of the remote view. And we do that with two arguments. The first one is the ID of the view that we need to click or touch in order to cause the pending intent to be executed, and the second one is the pending intent. And that means when the user quote-unquote clicks the app widget, meaning touches the app widget, then what's going to happen is this pending intent will execute, and the pending intent will result in the weather viewer activity starting up. Next, at line 131, we set the location text view to the location string. Then at line 134, we set the text view for the temperature to the information regarding the temperature, and we perform similar tasks as well for the feels like text view, the humidity text view, and the precipitation text view. And then finally, down at line 151, we set an image view bitmap for the weather image view to the image that was retrieved with the weather information. So one of the things you'll notice here about all these set method calls is that we're not invoking these set method calls on the individual view objects. Instead, we're passing as the first argument the ID of the view object that needs to be set, and then the set method gets that object automatically for us and then sets its corresponding property, in this case the text property, or again down here the image views bitmap. At line 154 and 155, we create a component name object. A component name object is used to identify a component of an app, in this case the WeatherProvider component, which is used for updating the app widget. We're going to use that down below to indicate that we need to update the remote views on the app widget itself. At line 158, we get the app widget manager by calling the static method getInstance, passing in as an argument the context in which we're executing. And then finally at line 161, we say to the app widget manager, update the app widget, and specifically use the WeatherProvider class, which is the component name object that we created up above, and use the remote views that we configured now to update the data that's actually displayed in the app widget itself. And this transfers all the views over to the app widget and causes them to be displayed on the screen.